my showroom, I'm in a collective, and we have some really hot brands in our collective, and I have up-and-coming brands. In my collective, I have BB Dakota, I have Free People, I have Tom's, you know, and these are like hot brands that you walk down Haight Street and they're in every single store. The same style is in the next store, you know, and so, I think in fashion, when everyone has it, then everyone wants it. Everyone wants a brand name, and when you're an up-and-comer, you just have to realize that I might not be there yet, but I definitely can get there, and I'm working to get there, and I will be the every name. And they associate themselves with each other, so, you know, there's like families of brands, right? So there's like the luxury brands, and then there's like Michael Stars, you know, all those t-shirt brands that are like the best t-shirt, and then there's like Page Denim, Seven for All Mankind. And so if you can kind of figure out where your brand lies in this family of major brands, position yourself in that category and talk to the stores that these brands are being sold at, then you'll start to get picked up a little more. You just need to kind of know who you hang with, is by your term. Who are you hanging with if it's clothing, or who's it merchandised with? Just really put yourself in that category of that family of brands, and you know, evolve with it. Change if you need to, but you know, like if you're the best complement, if you're like the next best denim line, you know, then you need to be talking to the stores that Seven and Page and Joe and all of those are in, because those are the best denim lines right now. You know, you can't sell the exact same stuff to next door neighbors. Then you could offer this option that has different characteristics from Tom's, but I have a shoe that's casual. You can be that option to that other store that Tom's can't sell to.
As far as, and this is my second product company. I owned a soft drink company before, which I sold years ago. And essentially for product marketing, it's so focused on developing the best product that you could possibly bring. And that's, again, what slowed us down with Jill Milan, is we kept tampering with it. It just wasn't good enough, and it's still never good enough. And so I think that's very key. Beyond that, PR, of course, you know, knowing social media. Even if you hire an agency, you should still know how to write a release yourself. You should still know how to pitch a journalist, because, you know, there may be times that you'll have to do it and you have to oversee them. Finally, the thing is, to me always, and especially with fashion, is that you need that endorser. You know, in soft drinks, we would look for somebody who might be an athlete. You know, in fashion, again, it's celebrity, because you want somebody that these people can identify with, and it just lends credibility to your brand.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with the celebrity endorsements. The thing to take in mind, how many are you guys in stores yet? Have you started selling?
We started selling online, and
okay.
for fall we were.
Okay. Yeah. Have you had feedback from retailers yet at all, or?
We've had some, yeah.
Okay, so I think a very important thing to address with the celebrity thing is, as a brand, you should go after as much celebrity as you can. It's definitely worth every dollar that you put into it. But on the sales perspective, when you're working with stores, just note that it doesn't guarantee the sale.
Right.
It doesn't, because you're on, you know, you name it, but a million other brands are on you name it, and you name it's wearing 50 brands at once. And one store can, you know, has all these brands. We're on Angelina, we're on everyone. And so it doesn't guarantee the sale, but it's awesome. You know, don't not go for it. So I think that's definitely important to note. And what you were saying, how it's not good enough, it's not good enough. product development will always happen, and it's never going to be good enough, and it can always get better, and there just needs to be a point where you say, this is my 1.0, you know, and I get it out there. Because you have to kind of let go of a little bit of pride, and it takes a lot of confidence to like send out an email to 3,000 people, because oh my god, I just sent out an email to 3,000 people, you know, and it's not quite good enough. But you know what, it can always be better, and you just need to at some point just get it out there, and know that your next release will fix that problem. Your next bag will offer that color. Your website will get better, but people need to know about it, because if your mom and your friends know about it, your market's maxed out pretty quickly. So you just need to just take away that personal confidence, or have that personal confidence, and just kind of bite the bullet and get it out there, you know. And people are going to say crappy things, and people are going to think it's awesome. And the people who think it's awesome are the people who matter, and the people who think it's crappy, like, go buy something else, you know? So.
If I could just say that,
Yeah.
I would say, get your product out. We did that to a large extent.
Yeah.
Our 1.0. We knew it wasn't exactly what we wanted, but at some point you got to get out there.
You have to
and you
get
got to
out
get some
there.
feedback. And one thing I would say, this is a personal theory of mine. Never apologize for your product.
Never.
Never apologize for your price. Your product is good in your eyes, which means it's probably pretty good. It also means a year from now it'll be better. And you're pricing it in a way you think is fair. If someone says that's too much money, okay, it's not the product for them.
Exactly.
If it's not, or that they say I don't like it because it's not my style, okay, it's not the product for them. But never apologize. Your product is the right product for someone. And you know, Michelle, again, if I may, I loved your comment. You love leather.
Yeah.
So clearly you have a passion about your product, and that's going to come out in your product every time. And we happen to not use leather, and we have a passion about our product, and that'll come out every time. And there are going to be people who will never buy our product, and people who will never buy yours, and they're not the same people. But I don't care about that. I don't worry about that. We know that there's a market for our product, and we're just going to keep trudging and get it to as many people as we can. And you got to have that internal strength to know that just because somebody didn't like my product, I'm not going to say woe is me and stop, because the next person will, or the person after that will.
Yeah, you can never take it personally.
Jill and I started this, and it's really just us, and then we bring in people on sort of an as-needed basis, whether it's a design. We don't have employees as such right now. We have a designer, we have a production manager, all on a contract basis. I think you have to focus on product, but I know what we've found is that you do start working with people who, in some cases, you very quickly decide, I do not want to work with them anymore. And the reality is, and I've seen this through, you know, fortunately you get to a certain age in life, and I'm there, you learn a lot from your mistakes. And there is a temptation to think, well, this person is skilled at XYZ, they're really good at something. So putting up with this really heinous personality is something I'm going to do. But usually after a certain amount of time you realize it's not worth it. They're not as good as you thought. And we've made a couple changes with people where it just wasn't a good fit. And fortunately they're not employees, they're contractors in our case, but you just have to figure out that it's not going to work, because, and I think this is behind your question in some part, if they're not the right people, if it's not a good fit, if it isn't working like a good team, you can't get to the good product. And so I don't think you can, I think product has to be primary, but I'm not sure you can ever get there without the right people.
Jill, you want to add something to that?
As I said, I owned a multi-brand soft drink company years ago, which we ended up selling. And I still come back to product because I've seen so many great products. Sometimes it's the wrong time, and it's something that you have, to me at least, you have to keep tweaking, scrap it, make adjustments. But as I said, I've seen so many great products that somebody tried to bring out. 10 years later, somebody did the same thing, and that great timing for that product. we also had to kill off products. Sometimes the other brand that was very successful could grow. So I think in your startup stages, product is paramount, and then as you grow, people obviously contribute tremendously, and you need their help. But you kind of have to have a starting point.
Karen?
In sales, when you're working with a sales rep who has these relationships with buyers, your brand is more likely to be seen quicker by those buyers. Because when a buyer, okay, so when I'm working with my buyers, they're like, Carrie, hey, you, yay, good to see you. Here's all my new stuff. What's going on in your store? Oh, I love that. Oh my God, you need this. Hey, they're so cool. Check them out. They're brand new. Oh my God, I like it. I'm so glad you showed it to me. So if you didn't have that prior relationship, that's a much harder sell to, get in there. And so often with sales reps is, you're able to introduce new brands easily to your buyers because they trust that you've sold them quality product in the past, you've fixed mistakes, you've helped them out. If it's, you're very trustworthy, and they know that they can come to you and you're easy to deal with, and they like working with you. And in that situation, people opens the door to product, because in fashion, we have 2 arms and 2 legs and a hole for a neck. What hasn't been done? There's nothing that's totally unique out there, unfortunately. You can introduce new fabrications and such and reinvent it every 10 years, but ultimately we're working with a canvas that hasn't changed in a long time. And so there's a lot of brands who kind of are offering the same thing, and what makes them love it over and buy it over something else is the relationship. And it's that hey, this is something new, you're gonna love it. Great, I'm available next Friday. Okay, you can come see it, or we're gonna be at the Vegas market. Great, I'm gonna come see you. I love working with you, and so, in my business, it's people opens the door, and then the product has to hold up to its. It has to be quality. I've dealt with products that fell apart in 2 weeks, and I had to repair those relationships, and and that was hard to deal with. And I don't work with those brands anymore.
Change the whole thing, the whole business by 80%.
Yeah.
Before they go into an iteration version of what they're going to propose, right, to get funding. So that's a little background, and I just want to see from a fashion, merchandise, all that kind of retail, if it was the same, because there's. Right now the fashion stores are growing and stuff, but there's still a subset of everything else, so there might be a little different, more product focused versus just the management alone. Okay.
But your product has to hold up. It has to deliver what they saw in the pictures, and it has to be worth every single penny that they're paying for it. And then I can sell to you all day long, as long as that's happening.